Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Wait, this isn't a welcome back. This is a welcome to the inaugural episode, MonkeyTalk. MonkeyTalk. There's some, if you're watching, there's some new people at the table, people you may have never seen, or maybe just a person, because Jeff likes to shove himself into anywhere we can go. But
ew.
No, and if you're listening, we'll go ahead and do introductions. I am, of course, Stevie B. You know me. I'm Stevie B.
Stop rhyming.
Sorry. I'm a poet and I don't even know it.
No.
Okay. And that, of course, you're hearing is Trex.
Hi. Of course, it's me.
I can't believe he's in front of the camera. So.
That's because you told me to.
I know I did. I told you to. All right. And to my right is
Jim Shelley of FlashbackUniverse.com.
Whoa.
I'm a fan of Bronze Age comics and Bronze Age hairstyles, as you can tell.
I love it. I've actually, you write a blog, flashbackuniverse.blogspot.com.
That's right.
You update it pretty regularly, once or twice a week.
Twice a week.
Yeah. I've written a couple of things for it.
Yes, you have.
So
some good Star Wars stuff.
So I try. You know.
You've written it, it was edited, and then it was submitted.
I write it, and Heather, my wife, edits it because my grammar is horrendous.
Yes, I can vouch for this.
Yep.
He has sent me IM messages at work that I wasn't quite sure what they meant.
And this is in the IT world,
Yeah,
so you know it's getting all sorts of confused.
He developed a Stevie B decipher code for IMs. He's like, all right, he said this, he means this. Okay. All right, and beside him, ladies and gentlemen, returning to the mic.
That's right. I'm Jeff, owner of Pump Monkey Comics here at 4711 Forest Drive.
Throw the address in. Huh?
Well, you got to throw it in there, man. PumpMonkeyComics.com, Twitter, Facebook,
No.
and Tumblr.
Tumblr. You just added
Yeah,
Tumblr.
that's right.
A young lady starts working at a store, all of a sudden you get Tumblr.
Yeah.
Because Jeff doesn't know how to use it.
I don't know how to use it.
I go in and look at it. It's neat.
It's neat.
You're in the right adult place for Tumblr then.
Perfect. Okay, so this is Monkey Talk. I don't know if I've said that yet or not.
Featuring Nerds of the Apocalypse.
Nerds of the Apocalypse presents Monkey Talk. No, we've been trying to actually put this together for a while. We're like, man, our podcast, we didn't really get away from comics because we still talk about it sometimes, but we kind of moved into like everything nerdy, and we're like, wouldn't it be nice to just sit down and talk comics and just comics and that's it? And so
I say no, and then I was overruled.
you definitely were over. So we're going to do this. We're going to try to do this once a month. We're going to talk about any big events in comics, any big news or anything like that. Today on the roster is Futures End and Original Sin. We did a DC and Marvel kind of, not really a battle, but we're just going to... My
It's
brain
a battle.
is in full overload because I've literally read all of Original Sin and about half of Futures End in the past 24 hours. So I'm good to go. I am not a very good moderator. We all know this. Trex, he tells me all the time that I'm not a good moderator. He lets me know. So I'm actually going to give moderating duties over to Jeff because Jeff likes to hear his own voice.
Oh, thanks, Stevie.
No
that's,
problem,
That's
buddy.
like the pot calling the kettle black. Thanks,
That's
man.
right.
So just to kind of kick things off, one of the things I think we should discuss first is events. Okay, so events have been happening in comics for a long time. Sometimes they're seen as a cash grab. Sometimes they're actually seen as expanding on stories. So one thing with Marvel seems of late, we're getting a little bit of event fatigue, a lot of people are saying. So what do you guys think? I mean, we basically started off, since, gosh.
Civil War, I would say, kicked it
Civil
off.
War. Yeah, Civil War, then what was after Civil War?
Was House of M before or after
No,
Civil
House
War?
of M probably kicked it off, right? Wasn't House of M first?
See,
No,
we keep
you
going
know what?
back.
You're right. I think Avengers Dissemble was
Yep.
probably the first thing that kicked it off, and then you're right. We started rolling into the other ones. You're right.
So you go from there, then you get into the Civil War to Fear itself and Siege, and I may be getting them out of order.
Invasion.
Invasion's a big
Secret
one.
Invasion.
And then you get into what came next? Age of Ultron, then Infinity,
Yep.
and now Original Sin. And they're getting ready to kick off Axis
There
this
was
next
one
month.
that featured, was it Chaos War, Siege? There was like two that were like mini events that just kind of went under the radar. Remember those?
Was Dark Reign considered an event?
Kind of was.
Dark
Wasn't
Reign,
Dark Reign
Reign
and Siege
tied
went
into
together,
Siege.
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Dark Reign came in, and then Siege, and
That's
then
right. That's right.
yeah, because Dark Reign and Siege by far are my two favorite. I actually put them combined because it's still an on-telling story, and I'm not a Norman Osborn fan, but reading Dark Reign and Siege, just like, oh my God, Norman's best. He's awesome.
In hindsight, looking at all those events, those did hold together pretty well because they weren't really events; they were just ongoing storylines with a banner on them.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about events? Do you feel like it's a cash grab? Do you feel it does a better job of expanding the story? Steve, what do you think?
Well, events for me is that I don't like to read Avengers books because there's so many. And for me, the events are kind of that Avengers kick, but with everybody. Like an Original Sin we're about to talk about. I was surprised to see, like, Gamora. Right. Like, she's featured in a lot. Like, so, and then Rocket. I feel like Rocket was just thrown in there just because, hey, Rocket Raccoon is out there, throw him in. But no, it kind of gets your Avengers fix so you don't have to, like, get all the books. I do sometimes feel burnt out on it. I don't like when events span every Marvel book. Yeah. And it's like you don't get the full story unless you've read every Marvel book.
But what I don't like is saying that it has a tie-in, but you get the book and it has nothing to do with it. Example, during Infinity, you had Thunderbolts and had the Infinity banner across the top, but you read the story and it's like, oh, all the superheroes are off planet right now. That's the only mention to the whole tie-in. Yeah. So, but you feel like as a consumer, you got to, that's part of the storyline. I got to get it.
The term for that is called Red Skies, because back in the days of Crisis of Infinite Earths, they had the banner, just like you're talking about. This is a tie-in Crisis of Infinite Earths. And the heroes would be doing exactly what they were doing, but they'd go, hey, the sky is red. And because that's what was going on in the main book. You're like, what the hell? How is that a tie-in? And back in that day, we were like, damn it, I wasted 75 cents.
75, I wish.
I think I have a love-hate relationship with the events, and it is with the Marvel events. There's something going on every time, and when one ends, like, okay, do I have a breather? No, I don't? Oh, thanks for this, Marvel, thank you. And it was, because when I got back into books, it was House of M that I was dead set on because I'm an X-Men fan. And then, of course, the Civil War was so amazing. And then you just started dwelling. I mean, I think after all these events, I really did love all the Marvel events that were happening at the time. Then Fear itself came, started off strong, went down to the toilet really fast, and I was really disappointed. Yeah. And I was at that point, it's like, all right, well, Marvel cannot make every event great. So then, of course, I came into DC, and DC didn't have, as long as the event didn't say Infinite or Crisis, I was okay. I was perfectly okay. But now the only really DC I read is Green Lantern, and Green Lantern kind of feels like it has that, it has an event feeling to it every time, but the Green Lantern stories are self-contained in their own universe. Yeah. Everything that's going on in Future's End, and it's nothing to do with them.
Well, see, that's why right now, like, I'm constantly reading Amazing Spider-Man and the X-Men titles, which don't really fall into the events, and they're their own stories. And Guardians is the one I read. And sometimes there's mention of it, like, hey, remember when we did this? But, like, it doesn't affect the story at all. You don't have to have read the events to read them. And I think that's why I cling to those titles more than I do the other ones, because the other ones seem to just be about everything.
I think it's a dual-edged sword. You have some people that feel like the event is the important part of the continuity that they need to latch on to. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's what they buy, and they buy the tie-ins. And then the peripheral books are like, well, that doesn't really impact, I don't really need to follow that. But then you're on the other side where you're like, no, I want to read this thing that is not affected by the event. So it kind of, slippery slope.
I understand.
It's kind of funny, and from a retailer standpoint, I have to really watch when I order the number ones, number twos, number threes of an event, because sometimes they're slow sellers to start with, but people start picking up by that fourth issue, something happens, then they're coming in, they're wanting to buy all of them in bulk. And then when the trades come out, a lot of people wait for the trades, like Forever Evil. I mean, pretty much every time I've got that in, it sells pretty quickly because of that event. So it's kind of interesting. So let's switch the focus. We talked a lot about Marvel. Looking at DC, and you kind of hit on it a second ago. Since the New 52 relaunch, all of their crossovers have been kind of family related. They've been the Batman books, or they've been the Green Lantern books.
Or the Superman books.
Or Superman books. They've kind of been self-contained until Forever Evil.
That's true, because for Superman you had Hell on Earth, and right now you have the Doomsday arc, and for Batman we had
Death in the Family.
Death in the Family,
which was a big one.
Yeah, and the Quarterly Owls, is that an event? That was just running on Batman, right? No, they did
It
do.
was
They
an event
it
'cause
wasn't.
it crossed into
It
Teen
wasn't all of
Titans
them.
and Red Hood, and so it crossed
And then,
all the Bat
and then of
books.
course, in Green Lantern, we have the Rise of the Third Army, and now we're going into Godhead, which is coming up, which I can't wait because it brings back Jack Kirby's New Gods. Yes. Oh, it's gonna be so good.
That'll be good.
But yeah, I mean, Forever Evil was like the big. I think was it the biggest New 52 all crossover all
Yeah.
the books that they had since the relaunch.
Yep,
Yeah,
and
there
I
was
think it's
nothing
one of the
else.
more successful ones too.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it, man. I thought Forever Evil was really good, and but it also didn't go into the other books though. Did it? Like Superman wasn't like a Forever Evil book, was
It's
it?
in
Well, but-
Justice League.
But it
Yeah, it was-
basically
yeah.
those books kind of paused or told different stories. Like Batman went to year one. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
during the whole time
That's right.
they were on a different story. Superman was told from a different timeline, basically.
Yeah. Which well, I guess that kind of counteracts Marvel because it's like you want to read Forever Evil, you didn't have to get all the books.
Right.
That's
all
true.
the other books
That's
did
true.
other stuff.
Yeah, all
So
six
it's
of the
kind of better because I feel like just reading the Forever Evil tie-ins, and I guess Justice League and Justice League of America as well were two that you didn't have to read, but you got a lot more like the grid story and stuff like that. So it didn't a film. I don't mind picking up Justice League and Justice League of America, even if I wasn't getting it regularly because it's not that much. Like it's like, hey, you got to read this one too. Just grab this one. That is better for me than every book that you make is part of the story.
Right.
And DC was a lot better with their checklist in Forever Evil as well.
That's
That
true, yeah, there
Even
was-
even if it was a tie-in, it was listed in there for that month. Like this is what to continue the story. And it's like, oh, well, cool, Jeff. Let me get this.
Yeah, because when you look in Original Sin, there's no real checklist about what order you should read any of the other parts
Yep.
to. But I'll tell you, Edge of Spider-Verse, they're doing a great job with that, keeping you up to date as that crossover goes. But
Well, with every book, that's like, hey, this, and this. And see, that's a lot easier, too, because, like, Edge of Spider-Verse, it's like, it's its own book. It's like, hey, here's Edge of Spider-Verse, read this. And Superior Spider-Man comes out, like, and if you don't know that Superior Spider-Man is Edge of Spider-Verse, then you're probably not in Edge of Spider-Verse. You know what I mean? So it's its own book. And then I think it's going to run into Amazing Spider-Man surprise. Like, of course, the Edge of Spider-Verse is going to be part of Amazing Spider-Man as well. Can we talk about that for a second? I wonder if, like, our Peter Parker, like, now is going to meet him as Doc Ock. I wonder if that's going to happen.
I don't know.
They're going to pull him in. That'd be cool. Anyway, sorry.
wait.
Or meet Gwen Stacy from the other universe.
Right.
So that's gonna
Well,
be-
we know what happened in House of M, right? Do you guys remember that?
I didn't read that.
How-
Oh yeah.
I don't remember.
In House of M, what happens is Scarlet Witch is like, "Hey, everybody, be happy," and he's Gwen Stacy's got a couple.
Oh, that's right.
He's got a couple of kids,
That's right.
and when they revert things back, because they touched that mutant girl,
Yeah.
and they got the
Yep.
memories back, but they got the memories back, but didn't lose the memories that Scarlet Witch implanted. So now he's like, "Oh my God, she's dead, and my kids never existed, but I have a whole life of memories in my head of growing up with them. I want to kill her." And for Peter Parker to be like, "I want to kill her," is crazy because that's never what he's about, never what he's been about. It's like, we're gonna go find her, we're gonna kill her right now. Let's go. We're all gonna go. Let's kill her. So it's I always thought that was
Yeah, but
such a
I
good.
think that's kind of like the whole Mary Jane baby thing. No one remembers that now.
That's true. I stuck with me.
Yeah.
Brand new day.
Yeah.
No one remembers that.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's get into you want to do Original Sin first?
Sure.
All right. So Original Sin, if you guys don't know, it's a story of basically the Watcher on the Moon is dead, and that's kind of the way that it starts out. You've got a legion of superheroes that go to the moon.
Wow.
Oh, whoops!
in a symbol of heroes. In assembly.
It's a legion. There's a bunch of them.
There is a bunch.
So,
What's the direct number of a legion? I just want to know.
can you Google that on your iPhone 6 over there, Stevie?
Yeah, your 5.4 screen
iPhone 6.
plus.
Thank you.
So anyway, that's the way the issue starts. So let me ask you guys: when you first read the first issue, what did you think about the Watcher being dead?
I was interested for the fact that of course, me being a Marvel guy, I do remember the Watcher. The Watcher. Yeah,
You're crossing stuff too, man.
I am. The first issue was a really nice start off for the series. It really posed a lot of questions on who did it, and you brought in all these different heroes, and I don't really remember much. Because I've stopped really reading Marvel, but in this right here was a catch up to me to see like where Nick Fury was, where Cap was, and it was really good. And also seeing like everybody like team up in the oddball couple, Punisher and Doctor Strange. I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of like with you. I was very, very heavy reading DC, and I thought, with this event, because I missed Infinity, I thought, I'm going to pick this up. This looks interesting. I'm going to start reading this. And, reading Civil War and Siege and seeing all those characters interact, that's obviously was good for me. But what did you guys?
Between 4,000 and 5,000.
That's how many there were. That's a range.
That Hickman Avengers book hits that.
Make sure we send this to him.
Yeah, will do.
Turn your mic off right now. That was good. I can't even focus. I can't. It was because that really turned me off. I was like, I don't even know what these symbols are. What is this circle? Baxter out.
It looks like a periodic chart. You're like, what in the hell? I'm done. Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Original Sin. When Original Sin was announced, I was really excited about it because I like mystery stories. I think Identity Crisis.
Right.
I gave you that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that book was great. I'm like, because so many times in comics, the mystery is who is this character? Mm-hmm. And we've seen that time and time again.
Pandora in Trinity of Sin.
Oh, yeah. Dark Flash. Who is Dark Flash? But with Identity Crisis, like, hey, a real murder mystery. Mm-hmm. Imagine that, And so I was kind of hoping Original Sin was going to be like that, too. And for the first couple of issues, it was.
Yeah, it seemed like that a lot. You could see a lot of red herrings being thrown at you. You didn't know who did it.
Yep.
And, you're like,
I was really getting off on it. But we'll get to the butt part.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't know, man. I knew that the Watcher was dead before I started reading Original Sin. Because I read it yesterday. So I knew it was about the Watcher being dead.
Well,
that was the whole promo. It's like, the Watcher is dead.
Yeah. Here's an eyeball. So it's like, oh, they gouged his eyes out too. Sweet. Like, the first issue, you know what? I just wanted to get to who done it. And I was like, I want to read this and figure out who did it. And unfortunately, I had a pretty good idea come like issue 3. So it was, I kind of would go on what Jim said. It's like, not really much of a mystery anymore because it's like, okay, he did it, so now we got to find out the motive. Like, I'm just gonna figure out the motivations behind it, So, and I don't know, but
I think the other disappointment was the main villain, Dr. Midas. I mean,
you mean a thing? Like that's
I
was trying to figure it out, man.
Who is this guy?
Has he been in anything before?
I meant to look him up on
sure
Wikipedia. I've
has.
never seen him.
But that's
Okay,
not.
good. I was making sure I was the only one that
You build an
recognized
event. You really should. It should be like a spectacular all-star cast, not some guy you've never heard of.
Yeah, especially his daughter, Eliminatrix.
Yeah, that's just the worst.
You know,
Right?
You know who she looked like? You remember the end of season 2 of Arrow when she put on? The
Lady Deathstroke.
Yeah, when what's her name put on the Deathstroke costume?
Yeah, that
And
stupid
she had
hair in
her
the
sticking out of
back.
the back and her face covered. I was like, this is what she looks like. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, Trex, man, I really like the end of Arrow, but that costume was poop. Like, what was she wearing?
On my blog, I touched on this. There was some speculation that originally Ulysses Bloodstone, I don't know if you guys know who that is, was going to be the main villain. But then they had to back off of that because Marvel doesn't really own Ulysses Bloodstone, that character. The guy that created that, Mike Warner, still owns part of that character. And so they had to switch it, and that's why we got Doc Midas.
So who is that character? What was he in?
He was in a few Marvel Presents back in the 70s. He was kind of like their Doc Savage type of character.
Okay.
Went around, shot giant monsters with a shotgun, dressed in, kind of like the clothes that you saw. So it was very, there was a lot of crossover there that could have been that guy. And we know that Jason Aaron likes to play in that toy box.
Yes,
and
he does.
He brought back the orb.
Yeah.
Nobody freaking knows
Right?
the orb,
Yeah.
So he likes to go in there and go, man, I loved that character when I was 7. I'm building an event around him.
Dr. Myers was a scientist who craved power and wanted to genetically alter his body the same way the Fantastic Four did. But in the picture, he looks like the Thing in this event. In the picture, he looks like a mix between Iron Man and Doctor Doom.
I mean, when you first get introduced to the character in that flashback, I mean, he looks like Iron Man. Like Mark 1.
Well, but then he goes, when he's on the moon, he looks like the Thing.
Yeah, and
so
your first thing is like, oh, the Thing is gone. Something's happened. He's gone.
Well, he looks like the Thing from Fear Itself, because he had the glowy lines all through him.
And again, that could have been where they were going with that, but because of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes with Fox and Marvel, they may have gone, can't use the Thing in your event.
Well,
oh, wow.
You're probably right, because it's about the time when they're writing this, when they're talking about that they're going to stop Fantastic Four almost completely, or that's the rumors,
right.
So they give no support to the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they did it with X-Men. I mean, not with the comics, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was no X-Men toys to speak of when that movie came out, which is crazy.
It is crazy.
And who knows?
Wow, I actually didn't notice that until you just said that. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Well, when any first class toys either.
Yeah.
That's think about it. The last toys I think were from X3.
Yeah. Okay, so Fox.
Well, no, I think there were Origins Wolverine toys too.
Oh yeah.
Because remember they had the Deadpool toy, and that was when I first had that Deadpool toy, I was like, oh, that's not gonna be a good Deadpool. and then they messed with it, because then they had the comic version Deadpool 2, released in the figure pack.
I like that. Like, there are good Deadpools.
Yeah. Just they had Comic Nova and the Guardians of the Galaxy line of toys.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that's a tease, bro. Come on. You shouldn't do that.
They could work that. That's what they do.
It's true.
So when you get to issue 3, last couple panels there, Bucky comes in and beheads Nick Fury. I mean, what did you guys think?
I realized that he's all about life model decoys, right? I was like, that's okay. Instantly, because they've used life model decoys, I went, this is clearly a more advanced version of a life model decoy. Just because that's the thing they always use with him, and they've used it so much that it's just like, life model decoy is not really dead. You're not gonna kill Nick Fury, come on. I don't know.
Yeah, and death in comics in general is just kind of a not happening thing.
I honestly, I remember reading it today just to refresh myself, and I was kind of like, oh my god, did Bucky just kill Nick? What the heck is this? And the LMDs did not really come into my mind, because that's how out of tune I'm.
Not first either. After sitting kind of thinking about it for a minute, I kind of.
Yeah, in that moment when I read that panel, I'm like, Bucky, you suck. No wonder no one liked you.
How did he know that it was a life model decoy again?
Because Bucky's Bucky.
How did he? There was, I think.
Because Nick literally asked him, it's like, you did make sure I was a life model decoy, right? He's like, I thought about it.
I'm pretty sure it was.
And every person who saw Bucky with Nick's head had the same reaction. I never liked you, Barnes.
I love
everybody.
I kind of like that though.
I love that. I like that interaction that no one liked him. It's like, we expected this from you.
Yeah, the Winter Soldier is one of the better characters they've brought out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, the whole event at the end almost seems like it's a setup for his book.
Yeah.
Where now he's the watcher.
Which it is. Comes
That's
out
all
in October.
Original Sin was.
Which comes out next week here at Pump Monkey Comics. 4711 Forest Drive.
That's all Original Sin was. It was a preview for the new Winter Soldier book.
Which, thinking about it, they probably should just ramp that up to follow, I don't know, the Captain America movie.
Yeah.
We talked about tapping on tables.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Can we start talking about where it fell apart for us?
Yeah, I know that you really.
I know you
really want to get to this.
I'll hang back. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. We can talk about where it fell apart, because this is about the point
Let Let me back up a minute because I think I went too far ahead.
Okay.
So
Okay.
We'll get to that.
All right.
So before he's
Such a
it's
great
before
moderator.
Nick gets killed that the eye shows everybody's sins.
Oh, that's right. That's the whole point of the series.
Yeah,
We're
we
skipping
need to
it.
go back a second. So
You need to go back to issue 2.
So what did you guys think about how that played out?
Actually, I thought that was a great story concept, because you can do so many good things, and they did, on the spinoffs. A great way to actually make the spinoffs something that's tied into the event.
Well, it's great that they did it with spin-offs, but there was nothing in this event. They did no prelude to the future. Unless the one thing that involved the Watcher, and that was it. You didn't see anything. Like here, they should have done a couple of pages that were like, "This is what Spider-Man saw," like a panel, and you're like, "Oh dang, I want to go see that." This is what Hulk saw. Oh dang, I want to go read that. This made me not want to read it. And go, maybe I'll just see what happens in this actual.
Yeah, the only thing you really
event.
got was Thor said, "I have a sister."
Yeah, everyone
Right.
said their little words. It's like, wait, or Spider-Man was like, wait, oh no, out.
Yeah, no, you're right. It wasn't enough of a tease.
And I show me something. Like, show me a little glimpse of what you saw. I don't know.
I go back to Secret Wars back in the old days when all the characters walked off page and went in this orb, and then they came back and the Hulk's got crutches, and you're like, whoa, what happened in that orb? I want to know how the Hulk got busted up.
Yeah.
That was cool. They should have done something similar like that and gone 6 months later back on the moon.
And I didn't read all the tie-in stories with everybody's sins or anything, but probably my favorite was the Thor and Loki, where we got introduced to how Angela is in the Marvel universe now. Did you guys?
She was introduced in Guardians of the Galaxy, wasn't she?
Right. Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
But
I hope
then-
she gets popular because I have the first issue that she's in.
So does a million.
I know.
I think you're living in a different era.
And then yeah, now in the Thor and Loki tie-in, she was introduced as Thor's sister, which of course her own comic book comes out in December.
Yeah.
Asgard Assassin #1. So I think that's one of the tie-ins I want to know as well, because I want to know about Angela, because she comes from McFarlane's Spawn series, or
Right, and she was co-created from Neil Gaiman. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody knew
Right.
that, but so basically, there's a 10th realm now, and that's where Odin, I guess, went at some point and had some kind of
Relations.
Thank you for cleaning that up.
No problem.
And had Angela. So, we're PG-13 still.
That's
We're
right.
good. We're fine.
I kind of I'll find it really funny if we see like a background image we're on the 10th world, and we're just walking around in the background, we'll just see Spawn. I was like, huh, look, I see him. We're in this is the McFarlane world. Okay, this is where we are.
Yeah, that's enough to get McFarlane all champed up on the lawyers and everything.
There's a McFarlane-verse?
The bad thing about the spinoffs, I mean, like in Original Sins, there's a lot of really odd stories that came out that to me didn't make a lot. I mean, they even had a Howard the Duck one in there. I mean, I know with the movie, they're kind of bringing it back. They had that one. They had the Young Avengers. Quite honestly, the artwork in there was horrible. But there wasn't a lot of good spinoff from this one. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a much better concept, and the execution didn't deliver. Yeah. But sometimes with that's the way it is. They come up with this and they go, "We got 3 months to put out a book. Anybody got an idea?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think with the eye show and the sin, in my opinion, they could have had some bigger storylines come out of it. I mean, obviously, when we get to the end of the book, Thor's lost his hammer. I mean, that's going to spawn off that. And Angela's coming in; she's got her own book coming out. So there are a few things that are kind of changing the course of Marvel right now, but I think they could have done more because the Hulk Iron Man thing, I don't think it really had a lot of impact going forward.
It didn't. And even in the main tie-in book here, Nick mentioned it. It's like, I'm trying my best just to keep Stark and Banner away from each other. Mm-hmm. And I think the story I want to know more about with the Sin is Captain America. Because Nick was like, because Nick asked Captain America, it's like, well, what did you see when the eye went off? I'm on a mission right now, and that's my main objective. Cap out. I'm like, oh, holy crap! What did Cap do?
What was his sin?
I don't know.
They didn't say.
They didn't say?
I don't think I've read what it was.
They
I
didn't.
wonder if it was the one that was in the Invaders, because the Invaders had original sin crossover, and it wasn't much of anything really.
That's gonna
But
be
no, it
disappointing.
couldn't have been because he was in ice during that storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I don't know what his.
See,
original
it's like, I
thing-
mean, Captain America is Marvel's Boy Scout. He's kind of like the most honest guy you would meet in Marvel.
right.
What would his original sin be?
I don't know.
It's like adultery? I mean, what is it?
And see that's the thing too. His current ongoing series. I mean, to be honest with you, in the store, it's not very popular. I mean, the Dimension Z stuff they've been doing has not been good. So
Oh, yeah.
I've not been reading the main storyline. I mean, the thing with Falcon. I mean, now taking over to being Cap. I mean,
Yeah.
that's going to be awesome. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't know. I'm just haven't read it.
No, that whole Marvel Now relaunch of Cap did not work out like they thought it was
No.
going to work out.
It's been awful.
Which is amazing considering how well that movie worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a complete disconnect there.
Yeah, it should have been more World War II Cap or some more modern day to take him off somewhere else. They said the thing with him and his son was a really good storyline, but I couldn't read all the crap that was thrown in there with that.
Right.
So.
No,
Yeah.
I read the first 6 issues of it,
Yep.
and I was like, man, this is very cool. It's very Kirby-esque, nice. But then they kept going with it. I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
You need to break off here.
Apparently, it was. Sorry.
Yeah.
Captain America Original Sin. It was something that he's forgotten. Something that happened with the Illuminati, and it unlocks it, and like he starts to remember it.
Is it from New Avengers?
Yeah, I think so. When this event sin happened, that's the catalyst that unlocks all the stuff in his head. One night he goes to sleep not remembering. The next day he wakes up and it does. That fundamentally changes the world he lives in.
Oh!
Is it
I
from New
remember.
Avengers?
Oh, yes.
With the-
with the Illuminati, if we remember when New Avengers came out, remember the worlds were colliding,
Right.
and Cap was the one against it. What did Doc Strange do? Mind wiped him.
Mind wipe.
Yep.
And left it be, and everyone else took care of it.
Oh, okay.
So his original sin must have been that he,
Got mind wiped?
I guess.
I mean, that's not really a sin on his part. That's like, you know. It's like,
But for the most honest man in the world, it's the best you can do, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do? Not wash his hands after he went to the bathroom? and then shook someone's hand? You know?
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
I don't know.
All right. So when did it all fall apart?
Jim.
I'll let you go first.
It didn't fall apart for him, I don't think.
I actually didn't. I finished reading it today, and I messaged Stevie B. I was like, this is actually really, really cool.
I was excited when he
all right.
messaged me that because I know how you feel, so I was like, oh, let's see what happens. I think Jim feels the most strongly about this. So
Yeah, I will say that the twist was. I mean, of course, I thought that Nick Fury did it too, and I was like having child's eyes going into it. It's like, wait, maybe it's not Nick. Maybe it was Bucky. Did Bucky did it? I mean, Bucky seems to be that guy. No one likes Barnes. Why not? And then I was like, maybe it's this weird eye guy. That's really creepy too. Then Dr. Midas. I'm like, okay, you're bringing me all sorts of directions. Where are we going with this? And then here comes old Nick Fury. I'm like, oh. And then I read the issue where it was like how he officially got brought into as the man on the wall. Pretty good backstory, but then I was like, wait a minute, how old is this guy?
Yeah.
This is kind of like this is Marvel.
Yeah.
But I mean, just reading that was really my only thing. It's like, okay, Nick is really apparently freaking old. When are we gonna be done with this guy?
Yeah, I think it was the man on the wall stuff that broke it for me.
Yeah.
Because there's, for one thing, it stretches incredulity to think that he's jumping across all the universe and through the ancient realms and all that stuff, shooting people with gamma bullets while he's also, working at S.H.I.E.L.D. And they kind of talk about that. At one point, they have a panel where he's like, oh, my watch just went off. I have to go do something.
My Aunt Matilda's birthday.
I have to go do
that's
something
right.
really important.
And they
This
call
stuff
his new
not so
clone
important.
Matilda.
And so that to me that diminished the legacy of Nick Fury
Yes.
and who he is and S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything in general. Because like, that stuff not so important. It's more important that he's like shooting mindless ones. Why? Why is he shooting mindless ones? Those aren't really a huge threat.
No.
And where was he when Galactus was landing? All this other stuff. So there's a lot of I could have done without all of that. And it didn't really bring that much to the story either.
I'm completely 180.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It intrigued me. Because,
Okay.
I mean, you've got this guy, he said, the biggest, defense organization saving us from things on Earth, but he's also fighting this secret war that we don't know anything about. So I'm ready for a Nick Fury of the wall, retcon a little bit, to use that term. Give me an old story of showing the things that he did coming up while he was at S.H.I.E.L.D. I think that's interesting.
Well, and that would be good if there was like a mini series that went along with this series that said, we're going to reveal some of this, and that they did 6 issues showing you that and build it up and sold it to you a little bit better. I think that I would have been more.
Instead of practically just one book dedicated to showing his history and then actually him performing all the acts of killing all these different creatures.
Yeah, because with any narrative, it's how you sell it. How well do you sell this thing? Yeah.
So you almost kind of left thinking, how much did his life model decoys actually run S.H.I.E.L.D. when he was away doing other things?
Right.
How much control was he actually in? So when I read that and then I see that Bucky's there, dude, I'm stoked about a new Bucky book where he's doing all this stuff to save us from,
Exactly. That does sound kind of good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how we got there was a problem for me.
I got you.
Yeah.
It reminds me of one of the Star Wars Robot Chicken specials, where it's like Luke and Vader, and it's the scene in Empire Strikes Back. He's like, "I'm your father." He's like, "That's not true. That's impossible." And he's like, "I also built C-3PO as a child." He's like, "That's unlikely."
That's improbable. He's like, oh, you know those midichlorians? They're not real. I'm like,
feel like-
look, if
that's
you're not
what I
going to take
feel
this
like-
serious.
That's what I feel like happened here. It's like, well, I've been killing people since the 50s. That's, I don't know, unlikely.
Yeah.
Come
With
on,
giant
man.
green gamma bullets.
Yeah. Well, it's like he does. Well, they talked about him doing it, and they're like, we found these traces of gamma bullet in the Watcher. So I was like, okay, so either Nick Fury did it or his gun did it. Like,
Yeah.
Can we also talk a little bit about how he was going to kill Spider-Man?
oh yeah, they did so.
He's
that.
like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this guy a shot, see if he's okay. Like, well, you almost killed him?
Yeah, and that's a good point. It's like eliminating cosmic level threats and superpowered teenagers.
It's
How does that work?
And, it's because then it's like, why are you all the high powered mutants? Like, where were you doing all that? There's so many things that the problem with this, to me,
Right.
there's so many things that stories that we've told. 50, 60 years of story. He's been doing it since the 50s. Where were you when blank happened? Where were you when blank threatened the universe?
He was busy doing something else.
Aunt Matilda's birthday.
Yeah, yeah.
He was
At
fighting
Onslaught.
some
Where were you
other-
doing
He
Onslaught?
was some other cosmic event somewhere else that we don't know about that would have been even bigger if he didn't stop it.
That's everybody on the message boards actually.
Yeah.
Is it really?
No, it's not.
That's
That's exactly what they said.
It's kind of like we're talking about Thor: The Dark World when the Dark Elves are coming into is it London? No,
Yeah,
No.
new English type place.
where was it?
It's some
Anyway,
European country.
where were the Avengers to help Thor?
Well,
They were busy.
Yeah.
Well, see,
They
the
were
thing
somewhere
about that
else.
is like that was instant. It's like, did they have enough time to get over there? It happened so fast. They could help it clean up. The problem that I have with the Marvel movies after the Avengers was Iron Man 3. The American president gets kidnapped. Why does Captain America not know about it?
He's on a date.
He's busy.
Yes.
He's with Nick Fury. They're out
And
taking.
Shield.
He's
They were like,
Three warriors.
Iron Man 3 takes place the entire time they're on that boat.
It's a long boat ride.
They had to come home.
So, any final thoughts on Original Sin before we move on?
Let's give it like 1 out of 5. What do you give it? 5 being it was awesome, 1 being it was good. Should people buy it?
I don't believe in number categorized.
Well, you're still gonna give us 1.
I enjoyed it. The Nick Fury flashback was kind of just a disappointment for me, just because it was kind of like, I was like, this is improbable. So, but I mean, I did enjoy it, and I think reading it in one sitting, like in a trade format, would probably be a lot better for the brain.
I agree.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I read it.
Yeah. So I'm really happy I waited till all of them were done just to read them as one whole. Because if I think I would have read it it was actually a weekly book, wasn't it?
Every 2 weeks.
Yeah, every 2 weeks. It's like I think I would have definitely lost interest in it. I'm not giving you a number.
All right, so main storyline 1 through 8, I'd give a 4 out of 5. Especially if you are new into comics and you're looking for a gateway to get in to start reading, to get a lot of characters you're familiar with, to kind of see Moon Knight and Gamora and some of these characters in the background. I kind of wonder who they are. I would avoid all of the offshoots except for the Thor and Loki 10th Realm. I think it's what it's called.
Yeah, 10th Realm. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I would definitely pick that up.
What about the points? Because, I mean, it does show...
I've got them to sell in the store, but they're not great.
I mean, because wasn't the point series where they actually showed everybody teaming up in the odd couples?
Yes, but they weren't all that great.
Oh, they weren't. No,
those are maybe a 2 out of 5 on those.
Yeah. Because it was when Doc Strange and Punisher were together. I'm like, wait a minute, I think I remember reading this one how they got together. Yeah. But you just have that in the back of your mind. It's like, how did these two get together? It's like, well, there was these original sin point 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so many. I mean, if we probably went and added it up with all the different crossovers, I mean, you're talking probably 30, 35 books altogether to get the entire story.
Yeah.
But main storyline 1 through 8, definitely.
Okay. What do you think, Jim?
As myself, I'd give it a 1. But for people out there who are thinking about reading it, I don't think they're going to have the hang-up about Nick Fury that I had. They're probably going to get a 3 or better enjoyment level out of it. It's far better than Fear itself and some of the other things they've done recently. So, yeah.
It's better than Infinity, I know that. And I love my Inhumans. I couldn't handle Infinity. That was so bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and I agree with what this is going to be difficult for you to handle, but I kind of agree with what Trex said. I almost feel like events are better, and I'm sorry for this. Well, Jeffy's still solid either way. Yeah. I almost feel like events are better bought in trade.
All right, yeah.
Because and even the side to events, because then you could be like, all right, so I'm getting this, I'm getting this, I'm getting this. You know, it's funny, when I first started reading comics, you know what hang up I had? And I couldn't, my brain couldn't grasp it at first because I didn't understand comics at the time. I guess I didn't understand. I don't want to say understand comics, but I was getting the Civil War, right? And I was like, okay, there's all these tie-in trades. And I kept Googling, what's the correct order to read them? You know, and I didn't get that issue 1 of Civil War came out the same. So, like, the first 12 pages of the Civil War trade needed to be read, then the first 12 pages of the Spider-Man needed to be read. You know, do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Because the trades are, and I couldn't wrap my head around that. And I was like, I don't understand how you could not have these all together like this. And I realized now that I'm into comics, I get how that happens.
Yeah.
The only way it can happen is if event doesn't have very many tie-ins, like the Blackest Night trade, I think, did that.
Yeah, because there's a self-contained universe.
Well, no, because there was an actual Blackest Night book, then there was Green Lantern, and then went to Green Lantern Corps. But I think when they combined them, they did it all. Yeah. So I'd say 3.5 out of 5, but get the trade. Just which you can pre-order from Jeff.
That's right.
That's probably why I enjoyed Forever Evil so much, because each issue, even though it was a month I had to wait, and sometimes longer.
I didn't say anything.
I know. It still irked me, but the story was still so rich for me, and I was so involved that I could wait that time for, all right, I can wait. I will wait for that last issue, because I already know off the top of my head what happened last issue. Original Sin really didn't have that feel, because you were forced to really read the tie-ins.
Yeah. I don't know. When I got this each week and went to the top of the pile was the first thing I read.
Yeah.
But, I mean, not everybody's got that experience. But all right. Anything else on Original Sin?
No.
All right, cool.
I love the artwork.
Yeah.
And I love the cover. The cover was... It's just my favorite how the Original Sin just looks. I mean, you see it right here. It's just how the title and then it bleeds in. It's like...
I will say that...
Call it inset.
When they showed,
inset, yes.
When they showed the eyes, I was fine. But when they started showing, like, the
everything else behind the eye.
They're like swinging it around. I was like, oh, that was the Watcher's eye, dude. It's crazy.
I hate to not even mention it, but I'll do this real quick because I know we got to move on. So why do the Watchers look like the
Guardians?
I mean, Yellow River.
How else do you expect
Why
the gods of the universe look?
Why
They
are
need to be
Deadpool
big
and
and bald.
Deathstroke so alike?
I know, like Man Thing and Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can go on forever. Just I don't know. All right, so Future's End.
It's a bald competition.
So Future's End, of course, it's not really a crossover event. Future's End is there are 52. It's supposed to be 52 issues over a year, weekly issues. We basically got a preview for it on Free Comic Book Day, where we see a future. I believe they're 25 years into the future.
Yes.
Batman Beyond and Batman are planning to go back in time 20 years into the past to try to stop whatever's happened.
No, they're trying to go 25 years.
25 years into the past. Yeah. So when they go through time, it's Terry, right? Batman Beyond.
Terry McGinnis.
Terry ends up 20 years in the past, so it's 5 years in our future. Okay. So all the Future Ends books start off there. So the weekly book, let's talk about that for just a minute. So have you guys been reading the weekly book?
All caught up?
I want to say I read about the first 17 issues.
Yeah.
That's about where I got to and I stopped.
Yeah.
I like it. I've liked it a lot. I like future stories like that. Just I'm like, man, how did they get here?
Yeah.
I guess that's why I'm clinging to it. A lot of people, love Batman Eternal, didn't like Future's End. I'm vice versa. I just really like Future's End a lot, and I think it has to be that future aspect. That's why I like it so much. I love time travel stories, and I cling to them, I guess. And so I think it's that like, oh, we're here. How do we get here? You know what I mean? So I
just picked up because it was a weekly title. Like I saw Terry McGinnis. I'm like, Batman Beyond? Why not? Let's see what you got. And I have to say, for it being a weekly title, it's always something I love. It's on the top of my pile when I have to get it every week. I didn't really get into Batman Eternal just because I'm not a Batman fan. But with Future's End, I'm not really enjoyable of the time travel stuff. I could really care less. But it's telling like 3 to 4 to 5 different things going on in one book. So you get like Lois Lane talking with Red Robin, and then you get this little story, and then, we're going to switch it over to Grift over here at Cadmus Island. Grift, how are you doing? Oh, well, we're doing over here. Deathstroke is trying to kill me.
Lois Lane, by the way, is kind of a B word in Future's End.
Why do you say that?
We're spoilers, right? Like it don't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
You need to go back to the beginning and put that up.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah, near the end of where we're at now. You guys know the deal with Superman?
Yeah,
Superman
she finally found out who Superman was under the suit.
Actually, no, I didn't read it. But we're spoilers, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Superman, it's not Superman. It's Shazam.
Okay.
And Superman saves him during the Earth 2 war. And
which you can read in the Action Comics Future's End title.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, the one shot.
And he was like, I owe him. The world needs a Superman. The Justice League thought the world needed a Superman. So I will be Superman. And Lois Lane found it out, and he's like, "You don't please." Like she goes to his, it's 5. He goes to like his college dorm, and she's like, I'm gonna report it." And he's like, "Don't, please don't." And he tells her all that story, and she's like, "I'm gonna do it anyway." And she does it anyway. She like reports to the world that Superman is still missing and Shazam has been in his place. And it's kind of like him coming to his own, because he's like, you know what? Maybe the world doesn't need a Superman if they have a Shazam, and he puts back on his original costume. So it kind of goes to that. So I don't know where that Superman story is going. But so you know what the deal with Superman is?
No.
Superman apparently, and they haven't said it yet, has done something really bad during the Earth 2 war. Like
he snapped a neck.
He did this. He not snapping a neck.
That's what it is.
He went around snapping a whole bunch of necks. A whole row.
This is in the DC movieverse. Thank you very much. He did something really bad that apparently Batman made him do. Because today, I read so many books that I don't remember. I think it was Superman Batman, but I'm not sure. But like Superman loses it on Batman because like Batman makes him do something, and I don't know what it is, but it causes him to be like a recluse. Like he's in Africa planting flowers. Like he's like that's,
he's a farmer.
Is it Africa he's in?
Come.
He's in a
It's very Kingdom Come.
He's in a desert somewhere, just like planting flowers because he's just like, I'm not. I can't do that. Like whatever he did has brought him to the point where he can't go back and do it again.
Yeah, it's John Constantine trying to talk to him. It's just like, you don't know what I did, John. He's like, are you sure, mate? Because the things that I've done, you just don't want to know. I'm like, come on, John. Stop talking to Superman. You can't do this.
That was rough.
Yeah.
I know, it was Australian. I went inmate British.
I thought for a second we were.
Thanks, Mike.
So we're jumping a little bit from the weekly book to
the one shots.
To the one shot. So obviously, if you're watching this, you know, for the month of September last year, DC did a bunch of one shots that were Villains Month. Some of those were great.
Go Relic.
Most of them were not. So this year, it's been all about a bunch of one shots the 5 years forward with a lot of our favorite characters. So we're getting a lot of little glimpses. So before we jump to the September books, let's go back just a minute to the mainline series. What's your overarching thoughts of the Futures End, just the regular series?
The regular series, it's for me, it's been great. It does get a little confusing trying to go back and forth between the different stories, but with it being a weekly series, you of course have it fresh in your mind on what's been going on. You feel that some of the characters are not being utilized, like Grifter, and he's like, I feel that he's supposed to be like the secret weapon, that he doesn't know his potential just yet. Mm-hmm. And of course, you have Deathstroke and 50 Sue, who apparently is just this little girl that we don't know what kind of power she does. And I'm like, get this little girl out of here. We don't need her. Then she does something beat. I'm like, oh, well, you know, I'm not going to talk to her. I'm just going to let her be. Lana Lang is apparently on that island too. I didn't really put two and two together until they're like, Dr. Lana Lang. I'm like, when did she get a PhD?
She's had a PhD. She has a PhD right now in the...
and this is why you're the Superman fan and I'm not.
The Doomsday story, yeah.
Yeah. So, but you got the Grifter story, you got the Red Robin story with Lois Lane, and then my personal favorite, you got a little bit of the Arrow, of Green Arrow in here, because with Futures End starting up, Green Arrow gets killed. We don't know by who, but all we know is Green Arrow died. And then you start seeing like this new Green Arrow, who's supposed to be like the replacement. You get a little bit of her story. Then, of course, you pick up the one shot. You figure out who the hell it is. And
I don't know who. I never read it. Who was it? Go ahead, tell me. What is that?
See, this is what gets me confused because I read it and I think it's his daughter.
She said it's his sister. That's what she said.
That's exactly right. Because but then you see Shadow, and it's like, "Hello, mother." I'm like, her and Ollie. Yeah, on the island. That makes sense. But then there's like, this is Oliver's sister. I'm like, huh? Then did Papa Queen get a little freaky with Shadow? It's like, this is now confusing to me.
Have you caught it all the way up with Futures End?
With the weekly series, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So you know Green Arrow's not actually dead.
Yeah, I know this.
Okay, I didn't know if you were getting to that.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
I wasn't really going to mention it either, but
One Shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the one shot how everything, and then the weekly series brought it up. It's like, hey, welcome to Green Arrow Island.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Or Queen Island, I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell it's called.
I think you called it Green Arrow Island. I think you called it that.
Yeah. But, yeah, and so the weekly series for me, it's definitely worth it. I've been enjoying it every week.
One thing I noticed in the weekly series, which the last issue that they just came out with, like, told like all the backstory, like where the Earth 2 people came from, how it happened. Yeah. It was a big reveal issue. And there's a Red Arrow who I've been reading about in Earth 2. He's part of that. He's like the Arrow in there. Mm-hmm. He called him his double. So I don't think he was called Oliver Queen in the Earth 2 issue, which was weird because he's like, he's my double. I was like, maybe they just said that because he's like the Arrow of Earth 2. Yeah. Or if that's supposed to actually, because it wasn't Oliver Queen. It was actually Red Arrow's name. What is it? I'm losing it.
Arsenal?
What's his actual name?
Roy
Harper.
Yeah, Roy Harper.
Yeah, because he was called Roy Harper in Earth 2. And then there was that scene where who does he help? He saves somebody's life. The Earth 2.
I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Someone's dying, and he's like, Arsenal? He's like, no, I just look like him. And so I think that's actually two Roy Harpers.
Yeah, with Futures End, we're coming into 5 years. During this 5 years later, apparently there has been this giant war come out against Earth, us, the Prime Earth, and the people from Earth 2, which is where Pyro comes from. And I'm at this point now in this story that's like, I want to know what this war is all
wanna
about.
see the
Well,
war.
that's coming.
Yeah, it's coming out actually this in October.
Yeah.
Right.
It's starting off in Earth 2. So it's like Earth 2 needs to be on my pull list now. So.
Okay, I'll write that down somewhere.
I mean, it's being written by Tom Taylor, so it should have been on my pull list, but now we're going to start this off.
But now, haven't we already seen the results of that war?
Well, see what? Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
That's what's happening in Future
Pretty
Tense.
much.
Is there, so we don't know what Superman does, and Batman too. I know we're getting back to like the monthly times. I've read a bunch of Batman stuff, and something happens to Batman. He is wrecked.
Yeah.
Like his back is messed up. He can't walk. He can't do anything. Like so, he's out of commission. All the Teen Titans are dead. All of them except for Tim Drake, who's a bartender now.
But let's go back to the weekly show.
Yeah, sorry.
So, Jeff, what do you think about the weekly?
Okay. So I read probably about the first 15, 16 issues, and I dropped it. One of the things that I was excited about is I'm a huge Grifter fan. I was back in the 90s, you know.
Wildcats!
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I always loved Image and that. And I, you know, when DC relaunched, there was a Grifter title.
There
Read
was.
that. Loved it. It was great until about the last 5 or 6 issues. I think they knew it was getting canceled, and they just wrapped it up. So
They phoned it in.
yeah, they pretty much did. So I started reading the series. It seemed good, you know, because I kind of like reading about D-list characters. I mean, because really, this is full of like D-list DC characters, to be honest with you. And I, you know, like you mentioned Identity Crisis. That's one of the things I loved about that book is you brought in all these characters I didn't know anything about, and it was a fantastic story. I was caring about these characters. I thought it was going to be the same way here. To me, there's too many storylines, and I'm a binge reader. I like to sit down and read 4 or 5 issues in a row. So I would let them build up for like a month, and I'd sit down and read them. But I would still have to go back and read 2 or 3 issues from the month before to figure out what was going on.
Right.
Because there is a lot of characters that I didn't know. So honestly, over time, it just pull list got too big and too much to read. So this one got cut. It's interesting. I just wish that they would do something. I just feel like, and that to me, it just feels like we're, you know, how many issues in are we in now?
20?
21, I think, was the
Trex
last
mentioned
one.
that, what was it, Deathstroke is on that island with Grifter.
Yeah.
And that is like the most boring story.
It is.
Like, how
It is.
And it's
do you
been
put those
for
2
6 or
guys in a
7
story,
issues.
and it's like, it's just all
I
walking and talking.
I feel like that's leading up to something. I feel like they're all gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, the island
I know
became
it's a lot of
important now
yeah.
for the fact that we now have 2 huge villains. That one, in my mind, when I was reading it, like you saw either one. I didn't expect both, so it kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Because you got to that at issue 10 instead of issue 20. You know, there's
Yeah.
some things.
Yeah.
They could have done it. They could have taken some of the story.
And I'm okay with character development, but you know, I got it. I mean, they're on the island and but my God, just do something.
No.
So,
And you know, the sales show that.
Yeah.
The weekly sales on that book have been dropping, and the comments on message boards are like, why are we dragging our feet on this storyline?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people compared it to 52, which came out, you know, several years ago, where it did just like what you said. It took some D-list characters, but it was only 4 stories.
yeah.
So it was very easy to follow, and the stories were very, you know, well told.
Yeah.
The storyline with Frankenstein and Amethyst going through Phantom Zone, as interested as I
Yeah.
am in those characters,
Yeah.
it seems to be all over the damn map.
Yeah.
You know, so I dropped off that.
Yeah, that whole Stormwatch thing.
Yeah,
And Stormwatch is
exactly.
another great title that I loved.
Yep.
You know, and just sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay now. They're all dead. So
They're all dead.
except
Or
for
are they?
Except for
Hawkman, because of the 9th medal.
yes, and Frankenstein has Hawkman's arm that he grew back.
Yes.
So I don't know what that's going to do to
That
Frankenstein.
was kind of creepy
What
to
is it?
read.
I think Frankenstein he started dreaming. He's like, I don't dream. I'm dead. Like I don't understand what's happening. So it's freaking him out.
Because his arm got cut off coming out of was it the Phantom
Yeah.
Zone?
Yeah,
Where
the Phantom Zone.
Black Adam is or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I also want to know is like, why is my boy in the Phantom Zone?
That's in the Superman tie-in. What happens is
In Action Comics? Or
That's
Superman?
That's what he does. Black Adam is about to kill Shazam. The Black Adam and Shazam
right.
are fighting side by side, and Black Adam's about to kill the Parademon. He's like, you know what? And he lets the Parademon attack Shazam. And he's like,
boy.
I have to kill them. I don't have to help you. And so he waits for them to like almost kill Shazam, and then he kills the parademons. And he's about to kill Shazam, and Superman walks up. He's like, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. You're a villain. And he uses a Phantom Zone ray and shoots him into the Phantom Zone, and then flies off. So he just like started dumping villains into the Phantom Zone.
You know, when you see that, you're like, damn, that's right. Why haven't they used that in the last 30 years?
Right.
Why isn't that the go-to thing to do?
Really, I mean, really. Yep, Luther, sorry. Boom, you're gone.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that's like the thing that's turned Superman like.
But now I know where my Black Adam, how he got there, and
Yeah.
I'm somehow okay with that.
Arkham Asylum should just be a door you open and the Phantom Zone. Whoa!
Double man.
Wait a
I thought
minute.
this was therapy. Yeah, not so much.
Why isn't that a thing?
You know.
Yeah.
I know, again, it's super off track, but we were talking about video games and how the Batman games do so well, and what would make a good Superman game. Me and Jim were talking about that one day, and I was like, man, you did an Arkham game. I was like, put Superman in the Phantom Zone. I was like, do a Phantom Zone game sort of like Arkham style, because then you can have him like destroying everything, and it doesn't matter. And the Phantom Zone has never really been explored like that. Like, so you could be like, well, there's civilizations that have started in the Phantom Zone of nothing but pure villains, and so you could blow stuff up and smash through things. And
There's a villain bar right over here.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, because he said, how do you make a good Superman game? And I said, base it in the Phantom Zone.
I like that. I would play that.
You can destroy whatever you want.
Copyright nerds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Douche.
So anything else in Weekly Series before we go to the September books?
Do you guys want to know what happens? How the Earth 2 war essentially starts?
Yeah.
Because that just happened. What they don't really get into it, but the Earth 2 people are like evacuating.
They're refugees.
Mr. Terrific finds a way to warp them to another like universe, and so they're all in these ships, and they have like this armada of refugees, heroes, and as many people as they can scoop up, and they leave the planet and they shoot through like space through a portal, but they don't do it. They don't shut the portal down fast enough, and like all kinds of parademons and ships follow them through. And that's what attacks Earth. It's like all like the fleet of I'm drawing a blank on the planet.
Apocalypse?
Yes, I don't know why I was drawing a blank on that. Sorry.
Dark side?
Yeah, like the fleet of Apocalypse follows them through. I don't understand why Apocalypse just can't boom tube them all there, but yeah. But yeah, so they land, everybody gets out, and this war breaks out, and then all hell breaks loose, and then after the war is over, they're like, well, what do we do with all these doubles? And that's what happens. So
Okay.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
They all end up on Cadmus Island for a nice vacation.
all the heroes do, but the regular people are put in like special identification cards where like they're not even referred to as like people. It's weird. Like they're like Earth.
Yeah, I saw that in like, what was that, World War II?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's exactly what it's like, though, dude. They get identified as Earth tours, and it's crazy.
I will say this, touching back on something you said. I bought Batman Eternal and this, because I like weekly.
Yeah.
Series. I've been liking Batman Eternal so much more.
I'm just not a Batman fan, but I mean the turn
I'm not
that
really
the turn that Jeff was telling me about one of those D-list villains coming up in Eternal and showing himself was actually one of my favorite villains. And it's like, okay, that actually makes me a little intrigued to picking him
I'll
up.
tell you what, it's been a good series.
And the thing, another reason I dropped it too is because, quite honestly, I was getting them confused. I was reading both of them each week, and I was getting confused about who was supposed to be there. So I was like, I can't do it. Yeah.
You're getting old, Jeff.
I know, I am getting old. All right, so September. So we had 41 different 3D covers that came out this month with one-shots in each one. Some tied into Forever Evil. I keep calling Forever Evil. Keep tying into Future's End. And some were just one-shots. Some were great. Some were absolutely freaking horrible.
You know what upsets me about a lot of these tie-ins that I've read is that none of them have anything to do with what's going on. They don't tell the story. I read.
Harley Quinn.
I didn't.
That's what I was going to say too.
It's like, what in the hell? Why is this even a Future's End thing?
Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I read
That was
Huntress and Power Girl, World's Finest.
Which are Earth 2 guys, right?
So I was like, yes, this is going to be a big deal. all it talks about is how Power Girl tries to break Huntress out of Cadmus Island and then ends up getting stuck there herself.
Yep.
And it's like, this is, remember how you saw Power Girl in the prison in the weekly book? This is how she got there. I was like, I don't care.
It's almost in a way, you almost feel like the writers that wrote these books, they didn't have access to the storyline.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it seems.
No, I agree.
Because when you go in and read it, okay, let's talk about Suicide Squad. Since the relaunch, that book is sold fantastic in the store. Okay, so you've got this fantastic cover. You've got Harley sitting on the desk at the White House. You're thinking, oh, okay, this is going to be cool. You read it, and it's awful. All the Suicide Squad, they're locked up in prison. Harley has been pumped full of like some sort of hormones. She's huge. She doesn't speak. And
What? That's
Yeah.
good. No. No.
Freakish.
And
So she's like the Joker from Arkham Asylum?
yeah. So Amanda Waller breaks into the prison to get them all out. Well, by the end of the issue, they're all dead. They kill. So you're telling me in 5 years, Harley is going to be this bulked up mass that dies in prison?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was awful.
And the thing that's bad is, if I'm just like a regular reader of Suicide Squad that has come to it from Arrow,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm digging this, I'm not really following Forever Evil, I just think the book died now. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Is my
Yeah,
book
and-
over?
And the thing is, too, like some of these books are not being written by the writers of the series.
Some of them.
That one actually was written by the writer of the ongoing series. So, I was, okay. So, let's back up a second because I started off with the bad. What did you read that was good? What did you like? Of course, I know you like the Superman book, Stevie.
Well, Superman or Action Comics is good because it told the story of Shazam and how it happened. So that was good. Even though you found in the weekly series that it was Shazam, this is why he feels he owes the debt, and it makes sense. Teen Titans are really liked because essentially a bunch of Earth 2 heroes, kids, become the Teen Titans. Because all the Teen Titans are dead and Red Robin's not there. And it's like Kid Flash from Earth 2. She's like, not that Kid Flash. I'm Kid Flash from Earth 2. Like, she always says that when she says it. Not that Kid Flash.
Oh, there's been a lot of Kid Flashes.
And so I really like, and at the end, they're like, you know what, we're Teen Titans. And I'm just like, okay.
Title drop.
Yeah, so that was good. That's probably the two best I've read, man. But
See,
Wow.
like, we got a lot.
I know.
There's 41.
Yeah. Well, Wonder Woman and Superman, Wonder Woman, I read those, and Wonder Woman was like, she raised the dead to army because she's the god of war now. Like, she raised the dead. She's fighting next to Napoleon and all this, and like she's handling the business. And it finds out that it's one of her enemies that put her in a cage, and she was hallucinating the whole thing.
Oh, man.
Like, because Superman shows up at the end in like one of her villains' uniforms, and then it's like, we'll continue in Superman Wonder Woman, and you cut to Superman Wonder Woman, and she's like, you're being controlled by her, and she punched him against the wall, and it cuts to him in the costume, like his regular Superman costume. And he's like, calm down, they sent me down here to get you out of this cave. You've just been out here killing demons. You've been hallucinating the whole time. And I was like, wow. So those last pages I read were complete like nonsense. and then right to get so you're like, wait a minute, isn't Future's End? Isn't Superman a pacifist and doesn't do anything? You're right. Well, what happened was Wonder Woman is I'm actually not. She's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be growing grass. He's like, oh, you're right. See what's happened, Superman or Wonder Woman, is your brothers and sisters have actually pulled me from 4 years in the past, and I'm 4 years in the past, Superman.
Wow.
What? I'm not making this up. I was like, wait a minute. I got excited because I was like, sweet. So he's not. It's a complete and utter bum in the desert. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I couldn't believe it, dude. I was wow. And then it ends. He doesn't go back. So to me, like, this 4 year Superman's still here. He should
God, you're pulling the X-Men.
He should go give himself a pep talk or something. Like, I don't even know. So after I read those were the last two issues I read. So I was just like, oh my
And
gosh.
that's the problem with time travel stories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I know you love them, but they can also like, whoa, we don't have an end in here. Boom.
But well, also for me, this is what it felt like. They were like, we wrote this story. And they're like, well, actually in our weekly series, Superman's a pacifist. We just revealed that. What are we going to do? It's like, they pulled him from the past. Well, because we're doing a 5-year story, they pulled them 4 years. So we have a year. We'll use that year, and it'll be different.
That's great.
And I was like, oh my goodness.
Okay, the one I really liked, Grayson, without a doubt.
Yep.
Because I've not liked. I've read like 5 or 6 of these things, and it's all been like filler stories that were not that good. But this was amazing.
I agree.
And the guy, I don't know if this. I'll be honest. I'm not a Nightwing guy. To be a Nightwing guy requires watching a lot more episodes of Airwolf than I can really stomach.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Where's Dan?
Dan is not going to like that.
I know. I'm good friends with a Nightwing guy, but it's just not me. But I read that book, and the way it's told is very similar to the movie Memento, where each page is a slice of time, and then they go back. The story progresses backwards in time. They do that, which is really clever, and I heard about that, and that was enough to sell it to me. But then they do neat things with the dialogue, where the dialogue is encoded as you go through the book, and you don't realize that until you get to the end, and then you go back and reread it. It's a comic that makes you reread it, and you get another story out of it. Then there's this motif of the rope, and how Dick Grayson was on the trapeze, and then the ropes are used in the story, and the rope is at the end of the story, and it's like, wow. So it's got this intertwining thematics to it. They're just staggering. I have not seen story writing of that level, of that caliber, in comics in quite some time. Is that the regular writer of that book?
This is let's see who.
I'm not sure. Written by Tom King.
Tom King and Tim, or the plots by Tim Seeley. So
I was blown away by that book, and really, if half of the stuff on this Future's End had been as clever as that, this would have been the event comics was talking about, for the next 10 years. As it is, this guy's made a name for himself, I'm certain. And I may pick up the next issue because of it. I will say this, continuity-wise, this book really doesn't seem to have any bearing on the Future's End event. It just seems to be something that the writer had in the back of his mind and threw it in here, and it works fine, that it didn't tie into Future's End didn't really bother me because the other stuff I read didn't really tie in either.
Yeah,
Now,
Grayson
Harley
hasn't been
Quinn-
introduced in the weekly series either.
Yeah, okay, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
No, you're right.
because he's in Russia at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
So he's not even
But the
US.
worst of the worst, man. That Harley Quinn book, that could have been just a regular issue of Harley Quinn, and I was ripped off on that.
I don't mean to keep ripping on these Futures End books, but can I talk to you about Batman real quick and what happened in there?
Oh yeah, that Batman issue.
Oh
with the
boy.
clones.
Oh boy. So we talk about Nick Fury, right? Okay. First off, in the Batman Superman book, he's like he finally realizes that Superman's not coming to his aid. He's like, I guess I got to be Superman. And so his way of becoming Superman is to break into Luthor Corps. And
That was in Batman, yeah.
he breaks into Luthor Corps, and he finds the Bizarro experiment room. And it's really funny because when he finally gets into the experiment room, the whole time Luthor's talking through like a security system.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you made it this far, then kudos to you. And he finally gets into the room. He's like, if you made it this far, how are you doing, Batman? Like,
You must be Batman.
Yeah, you must be
Or
Batman.
either you're me or you're Batman.
Yeah, that's what it says. And so he steals the technology that Luthor uses to make Superman clones, and he uses it to clone himself. And so he dies at the end of the issue, and then it's like a clone wakes up with his memory from right before he died. And like there's like hundreds of Batman clones ready to go, and it's like
The world always needs a Batman.
I was like, wow, what?
I mean, he went through hell going through Luthor security.
Yes, but
went
it was
through
just like
hell.
This all was for Batman clones, bro. Like that's what happened here.
I thought it was actually going to tie into Terry McGinnis thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That's what I get for thinking. But it's like,
Is that what we're talking about, the books that we liked?
yeah. Sorry, my bad. We kind of all merged together. It's our fault. Yeah.
I'll stay on topic. So, what about you, Jeff?
So, okay, first week, I think there were 4 books that came out that I liked. I'm just looking back over. So, Detective Comics, Green Arrow, which I like. And that one actually did tie into future. Well,
Yes, it did.
it's kind of like a back end story a little bit. It tells about how he's still alive. I read Trinity of Sin, Phantom Stranger. Phantom Stranger is one of my characters that I've always loved and I've loved to read, and started off again strong. I thought when the New 52 launched that another story that just died off, but that's the one where he had his last coin, and he's going to figure that out. So that was really good. Cool. And Grayson. So those 4 books were great. I'm like, this is going to be a great month.
Yeah,
this is going to be a lot of really good stuff. Gosh, I'm about to do it too. So then
it's so easy.
Shit. I
Okay.
guess we're seeing like a 2080 here.
and I mean, there were 10 books. Obviously, I didn't read them all. Aquaman sold out in the store really quickly, so I didn't read that one. Did any of y'all read Aquaman?
No, I didn't. I might check it out.
That one was supposed to be really good. You said you read Earth 2. That came out the first
I read Earth
week.
2 as well.
Yeah.
That was confusing.
Yeah. And a
little bit.
And somebody told me Batwing was really good, too. That's another one I didn't read. Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm going by the list now. Second week, you've got Batgirl. Didn't like, and that was Gail.
That's the one I wanted to read. I forgot.
Isn't that with my Bane Barbara?
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
You didn't get it?
I thought I put it in my pull list. I didn't get it.
It's Dan's fault. So,
Yeah, Darren.
so that one starts off. I mean, it starts off at her wedding, and James shows back up and basically tells the guy she's marrying, either you jump off this building or she dies. Yeah, a little cheesy, but he goes, he jumps, he dies. So now her life is ruined. So she's no longer going to be Batgirl. She seeks out Bane to be trained how to be ruthless. And so she
I'm getting goosebumps.
pumps up. She gets bigger.
Pumps up. I'm just drugs.
She becomes a dominatrix.
Yeah.
If you see her in the costume,
She
it's
basically comes back to Gotham after Bane trains her, and she becomes she's got a league of Bat girls. So I gotta get the league again, don't it? Is that the right?
No,
size?
it's okay. I will call it a League of Batgirls too.
There's 4,000 of them.
that's a legion. Not a
Legion.
league.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You said league.
I'm okay with
The
League of
Justice
Batgirls.
League.
I am okay with that.
But I mean, I just didn't like seeing the bulked up bar. I mean, she's supposed to be kind of the not only athletic and she's kind of the brainy chick too. I'm sorry, that was
right.
degrading,
No, you're right.
wasn't it? She's really smart, and I just
Right.
She's really smart and can kick your ass.
exactly.
That's why we like
yeah,
her.
That's what I liked about
Now she
Batgirl.
can break your back.
Right. So I won't spoil the ending, but that one was pretty good. Let's see. We talked about
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, we talked about that one, and then Batman and Robin.
I promise not to go through the list when I get to me.
I'm sorry. So Batman and Robin loved it. You open up the first page.
yeah, I picked that one up.
Let's
I
talk
haven't
about
read
that
this
for a
one
second.
yet,
So you open it up, and you've got a new Robin.
It's Damon Wayne. Not
Wow!
Damon Wayne.
Wow! What was that?
Sorry. No,
Wow.
Because the Batman Returns, Damon Wayans was supposed to be Robin at the last minute. They wrote him out.
Yeah.
They even went as far as making a toy. Like there's actually a Robin Damon Wayans toy.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
So anyway, kind of doing a little research. So this new Robin, he actually shows up in the Year One series, or I'm sorry, Zero Year.
Yeah, 0 year. Yeah.
0 year. Sorry. So when Bruce wakes up in the apartment, the little boy that's in the apartment with Bruce, that's the one that eventually becomes Robin, or in this alternate future or whatever it is. He shows up in 0 year a few times and helps out Bruce.
Okay.
So that's kind of where he came from. So in this future, Damien's still dead, which quite honestly, I like that theory.
Yeah.
I kind of like leaving Damien dead because I just think it builds more to the character. So that was a good one. That's a definite recommend. Didn't read Justice League.
I did.
I did.
It was unintelligible.
It was part 2. I stopped reading it because I felt like I was missing something.
It's part 2.
Yeah. It's
That's the one that took place on the moon. And all
Yeah.
that.
No, Mars.
Completely-
Mars. It was a prison on Mars.
Oh, because it was part of Justice League United, right?
Yeah.
No. Wait.
Yeah, it started in United.
It's starting United?
Yeah, I think so.
No wonder it was part 2. I didn't
That's
pick up
why-
United because United sucks.
Yeah.
Then I read Trinity Sin Pandora,
Okay.
which another character that I like, kind of like Phantom Stranger. I like the Trinity Sin. I mean, she kicked off Forever Evil by opening the
Yes,
box.
she did.
Another horrible one. Don't read that one. All right, so
Yeah, Forever Evil was was after the whole Trinity of Sin thing. So Forever Evil Good, Trinity of Sin was
Yeah, but it kicks it off.
Yeah.
All right, so brings me to the last book. All right, Booster Gold. It is probably the most important book to read out of the entire series, and a lot of people didn't catch it or pick it up. So let's talk
because
a
it's
little bit.
Booster Gold.
Yeah.
Right. Well, okay. So they just announced that Booster Gold and Blue Beetle are going to show up in Justice League 3000
Yay!
But it's not the
as
new.
New 52 or pre-New 52 versions.
Yes.
For like
Okay.
what, the last 2 issues that book is put out.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
I got a theory. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
So,
Shut it up, Jim.
so this book is Booster Gold. He's jumping through different Earths. He's jumping through time, and he jumps into one where he runs into himself and he says, "You're the older version of me, right?" He says, "No, I'm not the older. I'm not the older you. I'm an older version of you." So I mean, there's a lot of just honestly mystery that leads into this, and this leads into the World's End book too, also, and it's going to lead him into Justice League 3000. Here's my theory.
Okay.
Here we go.
Let's
All
hear
right,
it.
you ready?
Yeah.
Let's see if this is like my theory.
I like
I've told
theories.
Jim my theory.
Okay, mine's completely different. All
How
right,
do you
so-
don't even know. Sorry.
So, the New 52 universe
Such a great theory.
is a completely different universe that we've been reading the last 3 years.
Right.
Our universe still exists.
Yeah. You know.
We have been put onto a parallel universe of comic books.
I feel you must have read Superman Doomed, the last issue. Look at the
didn't
last
read it.
page.
Is that what it?
You looked at the last page, didn't you?
No.
Did you look at the last page? Because I know. I read the report. I read the review of it.
Yeah.
Is that what it kind of looked? Because reading this, I mean, you just kind of, you can kind of see. Okay, I think they're going to give us a nod that the 52 universe or the pre-52 universe that you used to love is still there.
Yeah, the last issue of Superman Doomed gives you that sense, and how it looks. You can look back at the infinite other stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same look.
Well, okay, so if you go Multiversity, did you guys read the first issue of Multiversity?
I did.
So you've got I don't remember which characters. Basically, it's the Superman character of that of that Earth. But when he goes to another Earth, he's a comic book character on that Earth, and his stories from what he's doing on that Earth is in that comic book.
That's right.
So I mean, it just kind of all ties together. But I just think.
It does. And really, if you told me 2 years from now they're going to reboot the entire DC line again, I'd be like, yeah, I can totally see it.
But I don't think they will. I think DC will pick and choose of what continuity they like out of this versus what they like out of the old continuity, and you're gonna get back into multiple universes existing at the same time.
Marvel 616
But you know,
and the Ultimate.
that would be fine because then they could go, okay, this Green Lantern book that you read takes place in a completely different continuity.
Yeah.
And Flash is completely different as well. And they can do their own thing and be fine. And that way you can have Superman killing somebody in this book
Snapping
and
necks.
Superman is a Boy Scout in this book.
And for like us, it's probably fine. We can pick and choose. But for your everyday comic, somebody that's trying to get into comics, it's going to be very confusing to figure out what happened, what's where. Because you try to explain the Ultimate Universe to
You
somebody
try,
that's
man.
new, and it's you can't.
It's
That's
it's
true,
so
but,
good.
If I ask people of people that read digital that I've talked to that do not come into a comic shop, they are very pick and choose about what they read, and they don't get wrapped up in the continuity.
Yeah.
You know, you've got guys that just read Flash,
Yep.
and that's it. And anything else that's happening around, they don't care. And so I could see if they went with your idea, they could do some really neat things that way.
Honestly, I'd kind of like to see some episodic comics. I'd like to see something where it's a self-contained comic.
Yes,
I don't have to read everything every week to keep up with what's going on. I miss those. I mean, there's very few of those out there. You got to go to an indie book to really get something that's kind of self-contained.
Yeah, Image is all like that, basically. You like Southern Bastards, that's all you got to read. You know, you don't have to pick up Saga to understand what's going on in Southern Bastards.
Although, wouldn't that be cool to
It would be a
those?
really cool crossover.
That's interesting.
Steve B bought the first graphic novel of Saga, still has not read it. He actually got me to read it. I'm like, Man,
I
thank you
knew
for
it
the
was
recommendation. It is so good.
How
By
do you
the
think
way,
about it? Well, I
my
actually
sister-in-law
haven't read
also
it.
recommended it to me. I mean, that's a great book. And Steve B, no, still not reading it.
So for our
Whatever.
November graphic novel club, we will be doing Saga Volume 1. Just a plug there.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, cool. So I took up a lot of time, Mike. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. This is already a long video, and they're gonna have to deal with it. But
We may have to divide it into two.
like hell. So I picked up a lot. The last Future End books I need to pick up from last week are Flash and Red Lantern. But every Future's End title I have picked up has been amazing. Pure fact that I keep my selections nice and tight with my Lantern books.
I think
He just
that's
picks better than us.
Yeah, I was going to
That's
say that is the key.
Yeah. So the Green Arrow was amazing, and after reading Green Arrow Future's End, I need to go pick up the Outsiders War because they are talked about in this book, and it's like because they mention outsiders and the different clans, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know this. Look back in my memory, and then came to the store. I'm like, Outsiders War. This is a tie-in. Wait, you already knew who Arrow's replacement was going to be if you read Outsiders War. But that was a great read. Constantine was amazing.
Really?
I love Constantine, and it's him versus the Helm of Naboo, Dr. Fate's helm.
Yeah.
Can you give
Which
us
is a
the
good-
Constantine
that's a good
accent
story.
again? Can you do the voice for us one more time?
Yeah, could you? Please. You're on the spot now.
That's not right. All right, that's not nice.
No, it's not.
I don't even
You're
care.
absolutely right.
I don't even care. I don't even care. Stop putting me on the spot.
CW show. Man,
See, I needed to watch more Doctor Who. I would have gotten it on Pat. But it's Constantine versus the Helm of Naboo, and just on how the trickery behind it was just a really great read. And I actually had to reread it because I wanted to figure out what actually was going on. So I felt like I was reading fast because I was at work. I had like 19 books to read in one day at work. Work was really slow.
Or was it?
I want that job.
No, you don't. I hate it. So now, with my Green Lantern books, they all tied in to the Green Lantern stories that are going on right now. Okay. Even at the end of those books, of course, it said continued on 5 years later in Future's End. Cool. I think the biggest one for me was Green Lantern Corps with John Stewart. And, of course, all the Green Lanterns, the Red Lantern, Sinestro, they're all written by their original writers. So Van Jensen, I've never really been a John Stewart fan. I always found him as just, the demographic Green Lantern. But with what Van Jensen has been doing with this character has been phenomenal. And in Future's End, we all know that John has his demons because he destroyed an entire planet. He killed Mogo. He wiped out a civilization. All by accident, of course, but those demons still hurt him. Mm-hmm. In this book, we truly see John Stewart become a villain in everybody's eyes. And here comes the Indigo Tribe. You got Indigo 1 trying to talk to him, trying to bring compassion to him. And it's just not happening. And it's bringing in the Shadow Empire, which is a story going on, I think, probably after Godhead. And John Stewart becomes the new Indigo 1. I don't care if it's spoilers or not. It's still a great read. John Stewart became Indigo 1. The fact that you've now become part of this tribe of villains controlled by the Indigo Light. I'm like, I want to cosplay as John Stewart Indigo Tribe now. It's a simple design, and just the fact that Van wrote it so well.
Good.
And it really ties into the Godhead coming in as well. Just on how you see everything coming into play. And the Green Lanterns were really good. I'm trying to actually remember another one that I've read. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wasn't going to try to go to the list, but now my mind's there.
So you went to the list.
I went to the list. No, I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to edit it.
See you in 10 minutes.
He doesn't like that.
I don't. I really don't. Actually, I think I literally kept my list very low because I need to pick up the books I need to pick up. It's going to be Flash, and Justice League Dark, Red Lanterns, and Sinestro. And with Flash,
And Booster Gold.
I will pick up Booster Gold because you have so many. So
I ordered big, and he was going to read a big book.
So with Flash, in the continuity that Venditti and Jensen are writing with Flash right now, we already have Flash from the future, from 20 years in the future. He's going back in time to right the wrongs leading up to Flash in the current timeline to pretty much stop something. And now, and this is like the future tie-in that
Stop something.
I know what it is, but I don't want to give that away.
Oh, okay. I thought. It was
Oh,
just
I
like,
know what it is.
I'm sorry.
But
It's a legion of
My bad. Something's.
something.
so with this Flash, we see the Flash 5 years later. This is also now the Flash from the past, or from the future coming into the past. This is a direct tie-in to what's going on. And, of course, we see Wally West Flash and what's happening with him. I have not read it because I haven't picked it up yet. But this is the title.
Looks at me when he says that. It's like, I know I got stuff to buy.
Don't guilt me, Dan.
There was one time we were recording Monkey Apocalypse, and I walked to the counter, and he's got my folder, and it's
He's
like
got mine
this thing,
too.
And he's got to sit there like, oh, just in case you wanted to, knock some of that out today, or all of it. And I'm like, wow, Jeff.
You make us sound like jerks. The folder was this big.
But I think the last thing I want to talk about is the Green Lantern. This is the Hal Jordan Green Lantern. That self-title, and it's Hal Jordan, of course, in the future. This is how the Black Lanterns come back. And it's really cool who was actually running the Black Lanterns. It was Krona.
Huh.
He was the wielder of the Black Lanterns, controlling everybody. All the different lanterns, all the dead people. And it's Hal's father coming back, I'm trying to fight the control, but I just need to tell you, Hal, because Hal's on Earth retired. He's like, I put up the ring. I'm not doing this anymore. After that war, I'm done. I'm like, wait, Hal? Green Lanterns were in this war too? What happened in this war? Yeah. Please tell me. So you get Jordan's father talking to him. He's like, you need to put the ring back on, son. You need to have that. You need to show the willpower. Flies up there. Relic came out of the wall, studying the wall. It's like, you know what? I'm just doing this. How's it going, man? What you doing? You coming to bust my chops? No? Okay, so you want my help to stop these Black Lanterns. And Relic does help, and the ending of it made me tear up.
Wow. Okay.
And Stevie knows I am an emotional guy, and it doesn't really take that much, but...
Les Mis.
Stop it!
He brought tissues.
Because I knew what was going to happen. It was my second time watching it. I was prepared. But it was a really touching story that how the narration from Hal's father and what was happening to Hal transpired at the end of the issue. It was really tearful. Yeah. But at the same time, I did tear up when in my X Factor. I have to say this in X Factor, this all new X Factor or whatever, written by Peter David, has been some great stuff. Great, it got laggy a little bit, but this new one brought out Quicksilver, and it brought Luna. Luna came to him. It's like, Luna, father and daughter, tear.
Uh-huh.
I had oh man, because Quicksilver just busted out with all this truth. Like, look, I'm a bad guy. I've done some bad things. I've done this, I've done that, but I am owning up to it. And just walks off stage. Next page, he's sitting there. It's like, are you going to have any guesses? Like, I don't want any guess. And then he's like, are you sure, father? I'm like, Luna! They hug. I'm like, oh, I'm actually getting teary up. It's like right there. I'm like, oh. Then the next issue was them having father-daughter time. And then I forgot who Luna's mom was in the Inhumans. Jewel something? I don't know. She wears like yellow. I can't remember.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
Crystal, yes. Yep. Crystal. Yeah, Crystal comes in. It's like...
Knowledge.
Yeah, it's like Crystal comes in, and of course Gorgon's like trying to get Luna back, thinking she's been captured. And then Crystal comes in, it's like, you're not going to have anything with my daughter right now. And she's like, look, I just want this time. But I'm like, oh, he's fighting for his daughter! This is and I went to... I meant to message you too, because it was... I want to bring these books to you so you can have that father-daughter moment. You will... I don't have a child, but you do. I know when you read these books, these 2 issues, you will go to Elena and just hug the hell out of her. Because it was that. I went to my buddy who has a daughter, and I was just talking about it on Twitter. He's like, really? I'm like, I told him about it. He was like, I would probably have to hug my daughter right now. I was like, it was emotionally impactful. And the Green Arrow gave me the Green Lantern with Hal and his father gave me the same thing because it was.
He's gonna cry now.
I almost did because like talking about Quicksilver and Luna, it's like father-daughter moment. Quicksilver's a bad guy. He does some bad things to the Inhumans, and then here comes Luna. I'm like, oh, it's so cute.
Oh wow! I actually read Red Lantern. Red Lantern was actually pretty good.
Yeah, because it tied into what happened with all these Red Lanterns are on Earth. Guy kind of retired. He retired Rage.
There's Red Lanterns on Earth.
Oh well, maybe through the universe because of Atrocitus' ring, but
well, no. What happens in Red Lanterns is Guy Gardner is a Blue Lantern, and him and Bleeze. Who's the English guy? What's his name?
That's Rancor.
Rancor. So
Can you do his voice?
So
English?
No.
So they stop. They grab this Red Lantern and like pull his ring off. It's like a snake, and then he throws it to Bleeze, and Bleeze has Red Lantern rings on all of her tentacles, and she
Wings.
Well, whatever. There used to be wings.
Tentacle wings.
Yeah, tentacle wings.
Ew.
And so she's got, and she puts it on, and she's like, ah, like he's like, you got it. She's like, yeah, I got it. And he can wield the blue light like a Green Lantern can. Like he's just like a Green Lantern with the blue light.
Well, yeah.
And
they make constructs too.
And well, there's no Green Lanterns around because blue's not that strong unless there's green around. But he uses it no problem. And,
Yeah.
And so they go back, and what's the planet they live on? Yes, Malot. Something like that.
Yzmalt.
Yzmalt. It's like a refugee for people who like have gone crazy from Red Lantern rings. He's like, okay, Bleeze, there's only one left, and like it cuts to Rancor, and he's like, he can just give constructs living, like make them living beings. He's got another like 100 red rings as well. Like he's living in a Red Lantern construct of Buckingham Palace because he's English. And so he sends out like a dragon to kill somebody, and they kill the dragon, and they have like a big fight, and Gardner ends up like wiping out Red Lanterns altogether. Like they were prepping for that fight with him, and like he's like, remember what we talked about, Bleeze? He's like, that's what was going to happen. I was going to take his all red rings. You were going to kill me. That was the plan. We get rid of Red, but something's happened and made Bleeze feel like Red needs to be dead. Like Red has to go away, and that's why she's teaming with Gardner. And at the end. It's really cheesy at the end because there's a Blue Lantern. Bleeze is like, okay, we did it. What do we do now? He's like, all we have to do now is hope. And I was like, wow, really?
Well,
cheesy.
Yeah.
No, it was good. It was a fun read. I mean, I've read a lot of Red Lantern. I'm not keeping up with it, but
it's good.
I like this. Clearly, what made Bleeze feel that way hasn't happened yet. I guess they're going to allude to it.
Because Bleeze actually fell in love with Rancor.
Oh, that's why it was so like.
Yeah.
Oh, also in the book, Guy Gardner and Rancor, Guy Gardner and Bleeze didn't have coitus. and Bleeze goes, we're going to be thinking about other people, right? And Guy's like, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, whoa, all right. That's kind of interesting fast. But
yeah. And the Blue Lanterns are actually the only ones you can get rid of the rage
I thought you were going to say
no.
coitus.
No, they're the only ones who can take the rings off. And Guy becoming the Blue Lantern is actually pretty. I could see it because what happened in the latest story arc, the fact that Guy literally is like, I'm done. He actually had control of all of these rings on his fingers, became like this ultimate alpha Red Lantern, beat the snot out of Atrocitus and a whole bunch of others, and harnessed the power, and is like, done. And just now he went back to Earth with his goatee, and that's it. And then it literally is like continued on in Future's End. I'm like, 5 years later, what's Guy doing? Blue Lantern. Oh, that's cool.
So I think good thing is I think we all kind of read different stuff, so that was kind of good to kind of talk through that. So let's break for a second. Sorry.
What's up? Break for a second? No,
Yeah.
Go say what you want. That's cool. That's what we're gonna do.
Well,
it's new. Everybody understands it's new.
Well, no, I just want to talk. I want to decide, what announcement we're going to do for next month.
Oh, okay. Well, we can talk about it real quick. We'll just talk about it on the air.
Can I use the restroom while you break?
Oh, we're about.
There you go. You can cut that, right?
I can try.
No, that's right. Jim's got a potty. This is okay. Yeah, we've been sitting for like 2 hours. I gotta go soon because Once Upon a Time's gonna come on. I don't have DVR, so.
What time is this?
Is it a new episode tonight?
Yeah.
It's 7.
It's tonight?
Yeah, it's 7:15. Whoa, we gotta get out of here. Once Upon a Time's coming on. All right, you go to the bathroom. We'll talk about it. Jim will be down with whatever we decide. No.
So, do you want to do Edge of Spider? Because we did like 2 really big ones. That's probably what it took. Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh,
to
yeah,
get
just
through
go underneath the one over here.
Our setup is ridiculous. Dodge, parry, avoid.
So I suggest Edge of Spider-Verse.
And just do Edge of Spider-Verse?
Well, we can do.
This went pretty long, so.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be long enough.
But you got to think, we talked about something that really encompasses about 80 books. With the original sin
That
and all the
was-
futures in.
Yeah, it's like
we're
3 months worth, or 4, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we really covered it.
What else are we going to do besides Edge of Spider-Verse?
I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care about Death of Wolverine. Please don't make me read it.
No, it's too short. It's not even worth it.
Is Edge of Spider-Verse going to be over by the time we record the next episode? That's the thing.
Edge will.
No, it won't. Because right now we're in...
Yeah.
Oh, Edge of Spider-Verse.
Yeah, Edge will be over, and Edge ties in, of course, the 4 main titles, and then, of course, Superior Spider-Man, some of the amazing... I guess we can talk about Edge and how it's going to lead up into Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Spider-Verse starts this month.
And we can talk, just like anything else, we can talk about Spider-Man and what's led up to this and Superior. I mean, there's a lot of conversation.
We'll just do a Spider-Man episode.
Do you want to do that, or do you want to do
Armor Hunters?
I love it.
I know. I will have to give you all the books for Valiant.
I really don't want you guys to make me read Armor Hunters.
Yeah, you are.
No interest.
That's kind of what I feel about Death of Wolverine.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it's phenomenal.
It is.
I'd say, well, we got to. If we're gonna announce it, we could say Edge of Spider-Verse, and we're gonna announce the second one, second series or arc, whatever we're gonna do later. Or we could just pick some different books to go over.
Maybe let's do Edge of Spider-Verse, and then we can do a choice. Each one of us will talk about a book.
I could give you the books.
I don't want to read them, Michael.
But
We
so
could
much
do.
better than
We
Superman.
could do Armor Hunters, and then you and I
That
could
is-
talk about.
That's just like your opinion.
Booyah! You guys can talk about Death of Wolverine. We'll talk about Armor Hunters.
Are you reading Death of Wolverine? Jim, are you reading Death of Wolverine?
Would
I got
you
the first issue.
would you read Death of Wolverine to review it for this?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about us doing Death of Wolverine and them doing Armor Hunters. Because I really don't want to read Armor Hunters.
And
I'd rather read Armor Hunters.
Oh!
Armor
So
Hunters.
fuck me, huh, guys?
Ass us the head, folks.
That's okay. Keep moving. You're good. There you go.
That's okay.
I don't want to buy a camera.
Armor Hunters, really all you gotta know is about Exo. If you know about Exo Man of War, you can pretty much follow Armor Hunters.
Now, I will say this. As far as marquee value goes, Armor Hunters won't have a lot of marquee value.
That's the
on
reason
it.
we're doing Spider-Verse and Armor Hunters.
Okay, yeah, no, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I would rather do that. 'Cause
I'm telling you.
I was a big Valiant fan.
I won't give you the tie-ins.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Everybody that I've turned on to Valiant in the store loves it. It's a universe you can dive headfirst into,
Yep.
and it's small enough that you can pick up all the books and read it.
The Exo Man
And
of
don't
War,
fucking touch Shadow Man.
Yeah, that first issue showed me.
ends.
I
The
The,
ends.
se- the
killed-
second story arc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right, so
I can't promise I'm going to read it.
I'll do-
I'll listen to you guys talk about
All right, that's fine.
it. I'm just kidding.
That's fine.
I'll at least give you the books
No,
so you
I
can
mean,
at least
we
have
get it.
it if you want. If you want to read a little bit into it.
All right. Well, all right. So we're going to cut back in.
Yeah. So,
All right.
all right, so I hope you guys enjoyed Monkey Talk featuring Nerds of the Apocalypse with special guest Jim. So for next month, we're going to be doing Edge of Spider-Verse. Of course, that's the prequel basically to Spider-Verse you're going to be leading up to. So how many issues is there in that? There's like 9 or 10 issues.
I don't
in
know. There's
that,
a lot out right now. The 2 new Superior Spider-Mans
Yeah.
have come out recently. There's 3. As of this recording, there's 3 Edge of Spider-Verse books out. There'll probably be more by the time we put it out. When are you putting this out?
yeah.
Soon?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
So,
say noon?
yeah,
Noon.
there may be more Edge of Spider-Verse books out. So there's at least 5 that I can think of, and I think next issue
there's
Amazing
five
Spider-Man
there's
ties
5 main Edge of Spider-Verse.
So we'll get you set up for Spider-Verse with our review of Edge. And we're also going to cover kind of one of Trex and mine's favorites. We're both big Valiant fans, and
I am too.
Jim is too. So there should be a crossover called Armor Hunters. And so we're going to cover that also next time. So
Join us, Stevie B.
I might read it.
Join us.
I might
One
just
of
listen
us.
to you guys
One
talk
of
about
us.
it.
Stevie's the holdout. Valiant's I'm just telling them a minute ago, everybody I've introduced to Valiant Universe in the store, they've dove into it and they've absolutely loved it. So it's a definite recommend. So
I'm not a sheeple, okay? I'm not a sheep in your world.
Well, on that note, who on this panel bought all the issues of Fear Itself?
Will you
Season
stop
man?
it? I had just gotten into comics, Jim.
I mean,
Every issue of Fear Itself.
right there.
Every issue.
That guy.
I'm
the
afraid.
not sheeple
I want to
guy.
bring it in. I want to bring it into Jeff. I'm afraid it'll be like $10 for the entire series.
for me to take it from you?
Yeah.
I was going to say,
Okay.
Jeff, if that's your deal, we might want to talk.
No, he's giving me $10.
Yeah,
You didn't get
okay, that's
that.
a good deal.
We should run an experiment. We should put it separately from other books, and I'll just sell it in the store, and we could see if anybody actually buys it. We could be like $100 the entire run every time, and just see what happens.
Yeah,
I bet someone will buy it.
All
I
right.
bet they'll be like, "That's a good deal."
I'll take that bet.
So come out and visit us at Pump Monkey Comics, 4711 Forest Drive, in the Bilo Shopping Center. Don't forget about Halloween Comic Fest coming up October 25th. We're going to have these guys here doing live podcast. PunkMonkeyComics.com, Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. Anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I will. You can go over to Trexlight.com for all the Nerds of the Apocalypse podcasts over at Trexlight.com/podcast/Noda. Made it very easy. And, of course, find us on the Facebook at Nerds of the Apocalypse, on the Twitter at Nerds of the APOC, and on our YouTube channel where this video is. Yay! Subscribe over at /Nerds of the Apocalypse. And you can personally find me on Twitter at This Is Trex, Stevie B.
I'm at CDB586. If you want to email us anything you want me to say on camera for the people,
Or any of your own topics you would like for us
if
to
you have
discuss.
any questions, anything you want us to talk about, anything you want us to talk about here. If you're like, hey, can you guys cover this comic? As long as it's not Death Wolverine, because Jeff is refusing to read it, even though I'm more lenient, I'm kind of willing to read Armor Hunters, even though Jeff isn't willing to read Death Wolverine.
Dang.
Oh, call him out. I called you out.
I'm reading it.
Fucking challenge. I challenge it. No.
A different Wolverine
I
challenge.
know.
I'll
I
donate.
read it. Boom.
So, but no, that's fine. Yeah, that's where we are. And
You didn't even say the you didn't say the name.
Say what name?
You didn't give us.
Oh,
you can give the email address.
Nerds of the APOC, not Apocalypse. Nerds of the APOC at gmail.com. Jim?
You can go to Flashback Universe and download free public domain comics.
Ooh.
And we have digital comics that you can read as well. And twice a week, I talk about all sorts of cross-culture comics media stuff. So come
And of
out,
course,
check me out.
and of course, all the links are in the description below.
So I guess we'll see you next month. Thanks for tuning in. Monkey Talk out.
You could do a peace sign, Jim.
Oh, I see.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.